Hello everybody, welcome to the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. You're getting a great look at the Fasig-Tipton Sales Pavilion right here in Lexington, Kentucky. My name is Mark McKelvey, and I am joined alongside by Anthony McDonald. Welcome in everybody as we are with you with thestable.ca at the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Anthony, this is, I guess you could call the premier yearling sale for standardbred racing here in North America. It brings out the who's who of harness racing, and it's going to be 5 wonderful days, 5 great sessions. And the first session, I think everybody knows, usually lots of fireworks. It usually sets the tone strong, and really excited about what we're going to have coming up on tap all week long, but especially here tonight. And it's great, Anthony, that we're going to have this opportunity to tee up each day of the sale, look back as well once we get a little deeper into the week at how the sale's been going. But on a day like today, let's first of all start with you. How much anticipation is there in the days leading up for tonight?
You know, it's such a weird, the stable is such a weird monster on its own in the sense that we're always racing horses, but when it comes to the sales, you really have to switch gears, and it's a tough transition for me this time of year. You know, I'm trying to focus on the Lexington sale that is coming up. We had just got over the Ohio sale, which is a big deal for us, but the Lexington sale is a little bit different because all the jurisdictions are here, right? Not just Ohio or Ontario, Kentucky, New York. Everywhere is here, and you know, Saturday night we're racing in the Ohio finals. A lot of stress at the racing side of things. And then as soon as that race is over, you peel off your suit and all of a sudden, you know, it's yearling time. And my wife and I drove down here right after the race in Dayton, you know, for you and everybody else that was here. Curtis had flown in. We spent over 9 hours walking around this pavilion looking at horses yesterday. Another, 6-7 hours here today. It's been a lot of work and a long day and long 2 days for us. And it all culminates with day one. Now, you know, the reason these sales are tricky, a lot of people following on are going to say, well, you know, you just go there, you look at the horses you like, you make a list, and you go and buy them. But there's so much more that goes into that. When you have 900 horses that are in a sale, you know, on day one, we have 130, 120 some tonight. Every single one of those horses could be potential stable horses. You know, we look through the catalog. Most, you know, you're not going to be able to afford, but in every session, as you put it, somebody is going to look back and say, geez, I was surprised that horse only brought X. We want that to be our horse. We want that to be our discussion. And to do that, you have to be prepared and you have to be ready to literally purchase every single horse in the sale. And if you're not, you're going to be that person saying, geez, how'd that horse only go for this, instead of the person holding the ticket. Now, again, none of that matters. It all matters next July. But this is the foundation of 2023 that we're building now. It started with Ohio, but tonight is a big chunk of what we do over the next year, and it starts all here tonight.
It certainly does, and as you mentioned, over the last couple of days, you've had that opportunity to inspect a lot of these yearlings, and we've got some great videos that have been packaged together with some of your commentary, as well as we get a closer look at some of the potential targets that thestable.ca will try to acquire over tonight and the next 4 days that will follow. Anthony, as well, we were just talking before we came on camera. I know we'll probably get a lot of these questions, so I figured we should address it right off the bat. If clients want to get involved with some of the horses that are going to be purchased over the next few days, what are their options? I know there was already some in place if you wanted to be a part of groups that are going to grab some of these horses, but if you're somebody that's joining us today, and there's likely a very good chance we've got even some that aren't already clients of thestable.ca watching right now, what are their options?
So that's a good point. For us to come down here and have the confidence to bid the way that we need to, we had put together money pre-hand. So we have what we had called buckets, and we have a certain number, a monetary number set for those buckets for our clients that have bought into them beforehand. Having said that, we do have other clients that are purchasing horses, whether it be today, tomorrow, the next day, outside of those buckets, and those horses will have shares available. Now, in reference to those buckets also, the stable has kept shares back for our clients and for potential clients to buy in. It never hurts to actually pick up the phone, text me, email me, call me, say, hey, do you have anything available in this horse? I really liked what I saw in it. And at the very worst, it'll be a wonderful conversation. And at the very most, then we can probably hook you up. And it's really stressful, but we're trying to do the best we can to, one, buy the best horses we can for the 2023 season, but two, accommodate everybody. And unfortunately, we can't, but we'll do our best to do so. So if you're out there and you see us buy a horse that you are interested in, it doesn't hurt to send me an email at anthony@thestable.ca, or you can text me 519-400-4263 or call me. as I said, we'd be happy to help you if we could, and we're always looking to bring new people on.
So of the horses here tonight and over the next few days, you've obviously got some of your own targets, but have you had clients reach out as well with some that maybe they've picked out of the catalog?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we've been fielding phone calls. We've been fielding phone calls the last 2 days and emails over the last 2 weeks from people saying, Anthony, could you go look at this horse? If it goes for this price point, could you acquire it? I'll buy X amount of shares if the stable would like to put the rest up. And we're happy to do that if we can afford it. So that's our plan. We have a number of things going on, but it just, now you're starting to get the surface of exactly what's going through my head all day long here at the sale.
There's a lot going on, there's no doubt about that. If you've never been to the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale, it's a one of a kind for our sport here in North America. Obviously a beautiful facility that we are at here today, but you got the best of the best, and we've got a number of horses that we are going to take a closer look at that could be part of the thestable.ca, as Anthony mentioned, heading towards that 2023 campaign. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we dive right into it and start highlighting some of the horses that'll be selling here tonight.
As the industry's leading sales agency, Preferred Equine recently introduced its exciting new online sales portal, Preferred Equine Online. Developed by our experienced sales team, the powerful new platform with cutting-edge technology makes buying and selling easy from the comfort of your home or office over any device. Our experienced sales team offers full customer service for buyers and sellers as it relates to the collection, distribution, and transfer of the horses offered. Sellers can enter a horse as easy as 1, 2, 3 with a searchable database while allowing comments, photos, and other documents. Buyers can view live pedigrees, past performances, and race videos. To create your account or learn more, visit www.preferredequine.com or call 914-773-7777.
Own a little and love it a lot. Thestable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. Thestable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at thestable.ca.
And welcome back to the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Night one coming up 7 p.m. I guess you can call it post time when we will get down to action for session 1 of 5 for this year's Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Thestable.ca will be very active this week, and hopefully you'll be able to follow along. We'll have coverage leading into each day's session. Of course, keep in mind after tonight, the next 3 days, the sale will begin at 2 p.m. and then we'll be back to a night session on Friday. Anthony, just before the break, we were talking about how we're going to take a closer look at some of the horses that you've highlighted heading in here tonight. Number one. Now, I think there's going to be a lot of people out there wondering, okay, why are we highlighting these horses? There's probably others that have already gone through the sales book for tonight, found some of the horses that could be the potential sales topper. We might not talk about all of them. These are horses that you've picked out. But for example, hip number 25 for July. This is a green shoe colt, a half brother to Quattro del Julio. I look and see that page right there. I expect this horse is going to take a lot of attention here tonight. We won't take a closer look, but you have taken a look at some of these horses. But the ones we're going to highlight are ones that I guess you could say are real targets, ones that you think are going to fall into a certain category. Yeah,
I mean, we've looked at virtually all the horses we want to look at in the sale, and probably some more. Hundreds and hundreds of horses. And when you look at a horse like 4 July, I mean, looking at this horse, you got a horse that is got a world champion brother. You know, I watched this horse race 2 weeks ago in Ohio. He's an absolute killer. So to think that you're going to come in and get a green shoe brother to Quattro de Julio, who, by the way, is by Trixton, I just don't see it happening. Now, we are going to watch 4 July. There's no two ways, but he's not going to slip through the cracks. You know, we'll be waiting if any of those horses do. But for us, as I said before, we want to buy the horses that when the people look at the catalog after, and everybody that's at this sale goes home and they leaf through the results, and every so often you're going to come across a horse and somebody's going to say, what's wrong with that horse? Why'd that horse only go for that?
Right.
Those are the stable horses. Those are the ones that's my job, is to find those horses to try and fit for thestable.ca. And we can't buy all of them. We can't buy all the horses, but we want to buy the best ones we can. And really, none of this, all this is wonderful, but none of it really matters after tonight. It all matters next July, next August, next September. So whether it's for July or any of the horses we are going to talk about, the most important thing is they have some luck. Right? We're all going to need luck come next summer. So this is the process that we go through. This is how we do it. It's worked well for us in the past. And as we continue to grow and buy horses on a bigger scale, it continues to work. So it continues to remain, the core of our model continues to stay the same, and I don't really think there's any need to change it. So we're going to approach the sales, whether it be a big sale, a small sale, a lot of horses, or a small amount of horses, in the same mentality, is look for value. It's always got to be about value.
Before we jump into these packages that we put together that are going to highlight some of the horses you'll be taking a close look at tonight, for yourself, you mentioned the fact that you're going to watch each horse that goes into that
Every
sales
single
ring,
one, yeah.
right? How do you stay focused for what will probably be a 4.5-hour session here tonight? It's almost like a long game of poker, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, and I'm not the most patient person on earth, but when it comes to the sale, you really have to be paying attention. You know, it's like I take it like any sport, right? It doesn't matter how fast you can run if you can't catch a football. And when it comes to the stable, you know, it's a lot of adrenaline dump, and this is why, you know, you look so exhausted after a couple of these sessions, is that, you know, if you're bidding on horses, as many horses as we do, your adrenaline is right to the max. Then you move on to the next horse and the next horse. You can only do that so many times. So it's very, very tiring and very taxing. And you're right, it is hard to pay attention sometimes, but you have to make, you know, the wonderful app that they have for the iPad. You can go in and make notes on every single horse. I know what I'm looking at when it goes in the ring. It's much like our horses racing. I can tell you what they wear. Well, I know everything I like and everything I don't like about every horse that goes in the ring. We've assessed values, my personal values for every single horse that goes in the ring, for the most part. And if those horses are below that watermark, then there's a good chance that that's a horse we're going to probably take home or try and take home. Can't get them all, but if we stick to the plan, as I said, to the value in that regard, then people will be interested. You know, we get a lot of flack every year from our clients and from other people saying, hey, you know, if you tell people who you're looking at, especially in a format like this, right before the sale, are you not worried that people are going to bid against you? And yeah, sure, a little bit. There's that voice that says that, but I look at it the other way. There's two sides to that coin, and the other side is quite simple. I believe that we have a lot of potential partners out there. And if somebody knows that we're bidding on a horse that maybe they were interested in, they could easily just hang back and become partners of the stable rather than bid against us in the sale. So yeah, if they want the horse more than us, by all means, go ahead and get it. But if partnering is up their alley, well, they've come to the right place.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? You bring up a good point, too. We were here over the last couple of days. We know who've been looking at the different horses. The consignors know as well. Word travels. It's really tough to keep a secret, I think it's safe to say.
Right.
All right, Anthony, let's jump into it right now. Let's start highlighting some of the horses that we'll be keeping a close eye on here tonight.
So we will be buying, I would say, a pretty deep pacer in this sale, I would imagine. I don't know which one it'll be. There's 5 or 6 that fit the mold, fit the list. There'll be some discussions about these horses heading into tonight. This horse here is one of those horses that will likely, 1, go high, 2, very good looking horse, and 3, definitely fits the bill. Now, obviously price, value is going to be major contributors in which one we take home. But number 7, Bree Hanover, this April 27th, Captain Treacherous filly, she certainly is one good-looking filly. This is a full sister to Boudoir Hanover and Bellissimo Hanover. Actually, all three dams have nice horses. And the Commanding Officer's a nice horse up in Ontario now, and Keystone Horatio down in the 3rd dam. This is, you're not going to find much stronger pedigree, I don't think, around. I guess that's why she's at number 7. She's not a giant. She's not super long, but she is built really, really well. Her name is Bree Hanover. She's a Captain Treacherous, Pennsylvania eligible. Now remember, I told you there are going to be some discounts this week for certain things, and I believe only being in Pennsylvania may be one of them. Does that mean that Bree Hanover is going to find some sort of discount? I certainly wouldn't bet on that, but I'm going to be watching this filly very, very closely. She is one good looker. Can you walk her down for me, dear? No, either one's fine. Man, she got a pretty head on her. There she is, number 7, Bree Hanover. What? Yeah. Anvil and lace is right there. Thank you, dear. You know, some of these horses we look at, I can't really tell you the exact reason that they made the top of my lists. I don't know. Just the video, the pedigree, and then when you come and look at the horse, you're like, yeah, that's a really, really good looking horse. Number 17, Mars Hill, is one of those horses. Yes, it's a first foal from Cantab Hall, but the horse made 90,000. Took a mark of 53 and 4, but from what I can see on the page, which isn't a whole lot, just an okay horse. The second dam does have a world champion in Mississippi Storm on that page. Third dam has nothing. Fourth dam, Casual Breeze. This is a nice horse. But there's just something about this horse that I really, really like. And as I will be completely upfront with you, there's a lot of horses that I held in extremely high regard coming to the sale that I didn't like when I got here and looked at them. This is the opposite. This is a horse with decent to pretty good pedigree that I hold in very high regard heading into the sale. And I like number 17, Mars Hill. This is a February colt by Muscle Hill out of a Cantab Hall mare. This is her first foal. Just a very, very good looking colt. This horse is going to take a lot of eyeballs. I'm just wondering, with all the strong pedigrees on day one, is this our horse? Is this our premium type horse? I don't know. But I'm going to be watching it. I'm not going to treat this horse as if I'm going to pass by this one because there's lots more left in the first day, second day that I like. I like this horse. And I'm going to be watching very closely as he goes in the ring. Number 17, Mars Hill. I don't think there's anything I don't like about this horse at all. Really good looking horse, big size, sharp eye on him. Again, really like this guy. He's amongst some of my top picks. Number 17, Mars Hill, selling on day one here in Lexington.
The guy's just sleepwalking.
We are here at Hanover, kicking off our second day of looking at horses, which happens to be the first day of the sale. On day one, we have a number of trotters and pacers we're looking at, and this is one of them, number 26, Stay Cool Hanover. This is a March 14th foal, Pennsylvania only, eligible at a Hanover Shoe Farms consignment. He is a half-brother to Scarlett Hanover. Now this colt caught my eye in his video and his pedigree, but looking at him, he looks really, really nice. You can tell he's going to grow up to be a real good-sized colt, nice and long, nice and straight and correct. Can you walk him down, sir, for a second? And he has got a lot going on for him. So day one horse, you really don't know what to see. You know, this is a very weird sale this year. On the trotting side more than the pacing side. The pacers are still going to hold strong. This guy definitely is going to demand a good price. He looks nice. As I was saying in my earlier video this morning, the trotting side is going to be a little more complicated with two big sires dropped into the sire pool this year. But the pacers will still run pretty strong. So Stay Cool Hanover, not really sure what he'll bring. He'll probably creep up towards 6 figures, I would imagine, or maybe a little bit over, as he should. Well-bred, good-looking colt, very good pedigree, very good video, really no faults with number 26, Stay Cool Hanover. Thank you. You know, there's just a ton of really, really nice horses here in Lexington. There's supposed to be. There's supposed to be a lot of nice horses here. And you're left looking at, you know, when we're talking about day one horses in Lexington, you're either looking for value, you're looking to find a horse that falls through the cracks, or you're looking for maybe that premium horse that we have slated to purchase here in Lexington. And there's just so many, you're looking through a lot of them. And really, it's all going to come down to value. It's all going to come down to that price when that horse is in the ring. And what brings you to that price is important. A lot of people, including myself, you're going to want to see dual eligibility, right? This is a May 1st colt. His name is Implacable. He's a Walner colt. As I said, May 1st, out of Demoiselle Hanover, who was a Muscle Hill. Now that mare threw Sherry Lynn's Lady, who was a Father Patrick that made 350. Also, the Irishman made 86 by Cantab Hall, and most recently was an expensive horse last year that we actually were bidding on. Didn't get anywhere near the finish line with Boudica, but we did bid on the horse. Now, the interesting part also, when you look just next door to those horses in the second dam, you see Donato Hanover, Here Comes Herbie. Just a very, very good family. Just a great family of horses. Now, I would have to say that this is a bit of a pedigree upgrade. Father Patrick's been a good horse. So this isn't a quantum leap up in class, but at the same token, Walner from Father Patrick, you get a different look for sure, don't you? Much different horses, totally different horses actually. So when I'm looking at Implacable, I'm looking at a colt, looks good, well put together, nice head, nice eye in him, and I looked at a lot of horses that I thought were going to be the one, our one, for 2022, heading into 2023, and I looked at them and they were unimpressive, to be honest. Not for what we're looking for. This horse is a little bit the other side of that. This horse's page says, geez, this could be a nice horse. The front dam is good. The second dam is fantastic. But when I look at the horse himself, geez, a really, really good looking colt. Can you walk him down for me, sir? Just really, really impressed with the way this horse moves. Loved his video pre-sale, like his pedigree a lot, but the horse himself, you know, it's getting late in the day. These horses have been out all day long. Still eager to do his work, still dragging the guy around. Just a really, really good looking horse. I like number 32 Implacable quite a bit. And we'll have a lot of interest on this horse as he heads into the ring on Monday night, number 32. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You know, day one is packed, obviously, in Lexington with lots and lots of talented looking animals. You know, 37 Blanton's Blue, again, a horse that I'm not familiar with Mombasita. Obviously, she's a nice filly. Take nothing away from her. She went 53-2 as a 2-year-old, 276,000. Winner of the Bluegrass. A very, very nice horse. This entire pedigree has lots of horses I'm not really that familiar with. But man, this is a good looking filly. You might turn around and look at her and say, gee, she's small, but she's a Chapter 7. A lot of them are small. I'll be quite honest with you, though. I think the other horse we looked at, this almost looks like a day 2 filly, and the other one a day 1 filly that we looked at earlier. Oh, colt, sorry, colt. When looking at this horse, he is a singular eligibility to New York. He isn't a giant, but again, you have to forgive that with Chapter 7 because many of them aren't big horses. Just a very, very good looking horse and a nice video. I like everything about this horse, but I'm not sold on him being a day 1 horse. Now his sister, obviously, yeah, I guess you can make that argument. I don't know. I think this is the type of horse that we end up with, to be quite frank. But I could be really wrong. I mean, listen, I'm putting these videos out there before the sale, and I could be way wrong on a ton of horses, and this could easily be one of them. Crawford does a great job growing their horses up. This place is packed with people looking at all these horses, and I'm sure the owners of Mombasita is one of them somewhere around here. This is a really good looking colt. I just don't know if maybe he'll be as well received as some of the other horses. I could be wrong, but you know what? I may not be, and if I'm not wrong and I am right, you may see this horse in the stable next week.
Here at the desk as we inch a little bit closer to night 1 of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale for 2023. Mark McKelvey, pleased to be joined now by Steve Palermo, one of the clients here with thestable.ca. Long time involvement in the horse racing industry, Steve, and I know you love getting down here to Lexington.
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't? This is a beautiful spot. Right now we're kind of baking out here in the sun. The weather, though, I feel like it could change at the drop of the hat around here at this time of the year. But first of all, before we kind of get into your background in the game, you were just telling me 10th time now to the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. I'm sure you look forward to this every year.
Oh yeah, this is on the calendar. Basically, once I get home from here, it's basically on the calendar for next year. This is automatic every year for sure.
And over the last few days, you've had a chance as well to check out some of the yearlings. We'll dive into that in a little bit, but for those of you that don't know you, can give us a little background, how you became involved in the sport of harness racing. I know it's kind of been in different aspects of it now, obviously as an owner, but what got you started in the game?
Well, as an owner, actually, I got started in like 1984 at Western Fair. I bought my first horse with Steve Boston, who still trains for me, and I've been in it ever since. Basically, over the last 27 or 8 years, it's been pretty solid. I've been, more into it and more into it, and to the point where now that I'm with the stable, it's hard for me to even keep track, to be quite honest. It gets a little crazy because if I own 5% of this horse, I don't cheer any different. So it's my horse, right? So there's way more of them, and it's become way more about business than hobby.
Right.
But yeah.
And for yourself, what are you looking for on days like today? I know obviously you're going to be involved with some of these horses that get purchased, but you've also been here and you've been inspecting these yearlings. I take it you like having that hands-on approach.
Oh, I absolutely like to have my hands on. I don't pretend to be a horse trainer, that's for sure, but I still like to have my opinion. After this many years and talking with, as many trainers as I've talked to over the years, I've developed an opinion. Day one for me here, prior to the last, year or so, has basically been, have a couple of cocktails and enjoy the fireworks.
Yeah.
Now it's you get to be a little bit more involved in it, so it's going to be exciting.
Now, over the last couple of days, how many horses between yourself and Anthony? How many do you think you've taken a look at?
I know Anthony's taken a look probably twice as many as I have, just because I tend to, keep my focus more on, Pennsylvania and New Jersey and Kentucky eligibles and trotters only. So that's pretty much where I'm keeping my focus.
Right.
That's my lane. But I probably looked at well over 100.
It's quite a few when you think about it, right? We got about 900 in the sale this year. You mentioned the trotters. We've got a few new sires that are going to be making their debut, their first crop selling here. Is there any that you're excited about when we talk about some of those new sires?
Absolutely. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I didn't know a whole lot about Six Pack other than, that he's a fantastic muscle mass horse who, amassed a lot of money and I didn't even realize much about them, and I was very interested to see what they look like. And it was kind of like his father, Six Pack's father, stamps his horses pretty much like they look all the same. Six Pack so far have been kind of a little bit all over the place, which is different. But I'm very interested to see Green Shoes. I have a Green Shoe weanling at home, actually not at home, somewhere here in Kentucky, that I will see sometime this week. And so I am very interested to see how they're, seen.
And of course, everyone's got their different opinions. You kind of get that buzz that you start to hear, especially over these days leading up, about some of those first crops that are going to potentially make a splash. You mentioned a few moments ago the word fireworks. That's the word I always use when you talk about night one. Can you describe the atmosphere around here for somebody that's never been to the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale on night one?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can feel it building. I mean, it usually starts a little slow. Like last year, I think Anthony bought one like right around hip number 15, right out of the bar, and it was a slow build, and then all of a sudden, people know where the potential sales toppers are sitting in the sale, and it starts to get a little, crazy, and then it's like that lull before the storm, and then it just lets go. And like a couple of years ago when it was Maverick and those kinds of horses that went through, and people knew they were going to go $1 million, and it's fun to watch people just sit back knowing that there's going to be 2 or 3 people bidding on these horses and they're just going to go. I will never be involved in those kinds of things, but I mean, it's fun to watch.
It certainly is. I remember being here the night when you had the $1 million yearling sell, and it almost felt, and I should probably give a shout out to those that made those purchases, because it felt like it was something the industry almost needed and wanted.
Right.
And people made it happen. And I know at the same end of the day, maybe the results didn't happen on the racetrack, but there was a reason those horses sold the way they did. Here tonight, when we talk about some of the horses that you maybe have a target on, what is your approach? Where do you set up shop? Where do you like to be? Are you still taking one more final look at them, or are you pretty much set, and when they get in that ring, you're ready to go?
No, I've done my research enough for day one. Tomorrow will be another day, but I mean, I've looked at them too, but I'll relook. I'm ready. I have like, a handful of trotting colts and a handful of trotting fillies that I'm very interested in, and especially if they line up with Anthony, then that's when I really know I'm going to be involved. I'm looking at trotting fillies with the potential of being a broodmare down the road. And obviously, if you're looking at one of those, this is the place.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
It certainly is. And naturally, that kind of leads to a follow-up question, talking about the breeding side of things. How much enjoyment do you get out of that?
Well, I mean, it's a tough, it's not easy, that's for sure. And I don't have a farm. I'm doing it on the retail end of it, and it's very hard. And I've had some disappointments and stuff like that along the way. But you wake up the next day, the sun rises, and everything is good. And I don't have anything selling at this sale this year because I just don't feel I'm big enough. And maybe down the road, but so my horse will sell in Harrisburg, and it's you just keep looking to increase, better your stock along the way.
All right. Well, Steve, best of luck here over the next
Thank
few
you.
days. Thanks so much for taking some time. I know it's been busy the last couple of days getting ready, but I guess at the end of the day, when you've done your homework and you feel prepared, it's like anything. You're going in confident, I'm sure.
Confident, we'll see, but yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Steve. We're going to take another time out. When we come back, we continue to get you set for night one of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale.
Own a little and love it a lot. Thestable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. Thestable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at thestable.ca.
So number 38 is a very interesting individual. This is a Bay filly, so again, even makes it more tricky. Bay filly, dual eligible, Pennsylvania and Kentucky, February 18th, daughter of Father Patrick. Now, her mother's world champion, Evident Beauty, 800,000 made, horse of the year, O'Brien Award horse of the year in 2019. Good filly. First foal from this filly. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. What's going to happen with the sale? Now, I was just talking to one of our partners and asked them, what number of Father Patrick is this in the sale? Because we want to get a sense of who's going to lose a little bit of the market, so to speak. And there will be one or two studs that you're going to say, geez, I can't believe that horse brought that. Now, I'm not saying, I said it last year and I was wrong. I'm not saying that Father Patrick may be that sire this year. But when you look at the draw from the top end on Green Shoe and Six Pack, and there will be some, I have to wonder who's going to lose out a little bit. Now, a filly like this, number 38 in the Lexington sale, out of a champion filly with a strong pedigree and a good-looking video, I have to believe this filly brings 6 figures or more, and I don't know that I'm that interested in her at that price. But if we're lucky, or I suppose we won't know if we're lucky till next July, but if we're somewhat lucky, I guess, at the sale, and the Father Patricks slide a bit, we might be able to pick a filly like this up for a little bit less than we think. Now, that's unlikely. I'll be the first one to say it. It's unlikely that we bring number 38 Prominence home with us. But as I've been saying all day, we don't really know what's going to take place at this sale, and you need to be ready for everything. So is Prominence coming home to the stable? Probably not. But on the off chance she could, we'll be ready. So number 38 Prominence, good-looking filly. Can you walk her down for me? Can you walk her down for me? This is a very good-looking filly, daughter of Father Patrick. First foal from the Trixton champion, Evident Beauty. See, she looks good there, right? Him?
Yeah. I wasn't sure. If you're going to pay that much money for a horse, you probably shouldn't tell him.
She doesn't really seem it that bad when you're watching her. You certainly don't see it in her video. Not that bad. This number 39, Pink Lux. Now, I'm going to be honest. I didn't love this horse's video, and we have a number of clients that asked me to look at this horse. And quite frankly, looking at the horse in person, I'll be honest, decent looking filly. The pedigree's a little weird. Steve and I were just talking. He had a horse in the second dam. The third dam is ancient, like ancient. It's a weird mix of blood, but the mare, first foal from a Chapter 7 mare, you can't discount that. That mare herself took a mark of 56 and 3 as a 2-year-old. and was a winner of $213,000. So it's pretty hard to discount that. It's hard to look at a ton of, easy girl, it's hard to look at a ton of Chapter 7s and then look at a tactical landing because they are totally different machines. But a good looking filly nonetheless. Can you walk her down for me, dear? Ma'am? Can you walk her down for me? Okay. Thank you. So this is number 39, Pink Lux. Pink Lux, a tactical landing, February 5th foal out of a first foal from a Chapter 7 mare. So a good mix. I guess you can see, I could see why people like her, and she does have a really nice head on her. Looking at her in person, I really don't have that much to say negative about her. She's a beautiful filly. I'm interested. I don't know what she'll bring at number 39. That's just so weird. I don't know what to say. Good looking filly, put together well. First foal from a Chapter 7 mare. I don't know. This would be the type of horse that would really have to fall into her lap, and I don't see that happening. But nevertheless, she is a good looking filly. Number 39, Pink Lux. You know, I don't know if we've bought a lot of horses from Crawford that I can remember Crawford Farms for no particular reason. You know, we'd love to change that this year for sure. They had a lot of horses here this morning. We looked at, you know, I brought you guys 3 or 4 or 5 videos of Crawford horses, but we must have looked at 10 or 12 that we really liked. And this is one of them, number 40, Champagne and Chanel. Champagne and Chanel. This is a Chapter 7 filly. She's an April 17th filly out of a sister to Crazy Wow. Now, she is a filly. She's out of a sister to a world champion. I suspect that there's going to be a lot of interest in this filly. Probably a horse that, you know, it's nice to talk about her, but she's going to be really, really expensive, I believe, come tonight when the sale begins. She's above average size, I would think, for a Chapter 7. She's put together really, really well, and I suspect she will demand a large amount of money, but is definitely the type of horse we need to really, really keep our eyes on. One, I can't imagine Crawford's going to let this filly go very cheap. I wouldn't if I was them. I don't think you're going to find any bargains here, but this is a top-of-the-line Chapter 7 looking filly, and it is a first foal out of a Father Patrick sister to Crazy Wow. So Champagne and Chanel, although you're not going to find much value here, I am absolutely going to be very close to the ring when she goes through it. Number 40, Champagne and Chanel. So I've told everybody, you guys know by now, we are going to be buying a pacer or 2 from this sale. I don't know where they're going to come from. We have a list of horses that are very interesting to us, but it doesn't matter, pacer, trotter, it really doesn't matter. It's all going to be about value. We're going to price these horses and stick to the plan. Number 60 at a win back, Like the King, is a Better's Wish. Now again, dual eligible, but when you throw Maryland in there, it looks nice on the page, but we're not going to Maryland with these horses. So you have a dual eligible Better's Wish. Now this is son of Better's Delight. You guys know, this game moves so quick. We all forget how good Better's Wish was and how dominant he was for quite a while. Just a beautiful horse. This is a very strong family, the family of Classic Pro. Top to bottom, good money on this page, top to bottom, and lots of speed. And what I always look for, it's not just the speed, it's 2-year-old speed also. So I like to see horses that show good 2-year-old marks. So here is a horse that checks all the boxes. Good looking horse, very well built. You know, a son of Better's Delight, you're thinking to yourself, geez, is he going to be really small? And some of the Better's Delights, some of the Better's Wishes we've seen so far are a bit small, which is expected. This guy's not. This is going to be a really, really good sized colt, and he is a big chunk of an animal. His name is Like the King, March 17th foal, selling here on day 1 at Lexington. Can you walk him down for me, sir? Can you walk him down? Thank you.
Makes walking videos easy for you, right?
Yeah. Who do we got next?
Next up, we should have 235.
235.
Getting a great look at Fasig-Tipton right here in Lexington, Kentucky. If you've never been here, let me put it this way, you're not going to find much better facilities for what we're doing here this week. And what's going on is the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Beautiful spot here that we are situated as we're in a new addition here at the sales pavilion, where we're kind of in this underhang or patio area, just a great spot that people will be able to sit down. If they don't want to be right in the main arena or in the back ring, they'll have an opportunity to look up at the TVs that are around us here and keep up to date with the action. There's a bar set up. So as much as, again, this is business for a lot of people, this is a vacation as well. This is the spot they want to be every year for the social aspect. Of course, lovers of the game, you get a chance to see the next champions as they pass through the sales ring and you find out where they'll be heading to begin their racing careers. Speaking of beginning their racing careers, we've got a group this year in the sale of, I believe, 913 horses. That's not without the outs, so there'll be a few of those, but 913 horses in this year's sale. And we want to know, who do you think is going to be this year's sale topper? So if you have already gone through the book and maybe you've got a couple penciled down that you think are going to fetch the highest bid, we want to hear from you. Leave us a comment and let us know who you think is going to be the sale topper. We'll check in with some of those comments a little bit later on. It'll be fun to track all week. Topper will come from night one. That's just the way it is. They really load up this first night. Very this year on night number one, and that's no surprise. You get a lot of European buyers that make the trip over. I know there was a few on my flight yesterday that had traveled over, coming from Sweden and France, so you know they're going to be active. They keep their eyes on this sale just as much as any yearling sale in the world. With so much focus on the trotters, though, there is one pacer that really stands out tonight. That is a full brother to Tall Dark Stranger, the Pepsi North America Cup champion and the multiple award winner. A full brother to him is selling his hip number 84. His name is Total Stranger. We had a chance to check him out yesterday. Really looks the part, so I'll be very curious to see what he fetches here tonight. As we continue on with this pregame show, so to speak, and we inch a little bit closer to the beginning of session number one, we're going to take another timeout. But when we come back, we got many more interviews to come your way. We'll also take a closer look at a few more of the yearlings that thestable.ca has got penciled down that they'll be keeping their eye on here tonight. So stick around. More coverage coming your way from Fasig-Tipton right here at thestable.ca.
As the industry's leading sales agency, Preferred Equine recently introduced its exciting new online sales portal, Preferred Equine Online. Developed by our experienced sales team, the powerful new platform with cutting-edge technology makes buying and selling easy from the comfort of your home or office over any device. Our experienced sales team offers full customer service for buyers and sellers as it relates to the collection, distribution, and transfer of the horses offered. Sellers can enter a horse as easy as 1, 2, 3 with a searchable database while allowing comments, photos, and other documents. Buyers can view live pedigrees, past performances, and race videos. To create your account or learn more, visit www.preferredequine.com or call 914-773-7777.
Own a little and love it a lot. Thestable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. Thestable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at thestable.ca.
It's a beautiful Monday here in Lexington, Kentucky as we get ready for night one of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale for 2022. Mark McKelvey at the desk, now joined by Dan Cordina. And Dan, I'm going to make a guess that you've probably traveled from the furthest away to be here tonight and for this week. You come here from Australia.
That's correct.
First time at the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale.
This is the first time I've been here, and I'm looking forward to to the experience.
Now, mentioning that experience, you get to kind of see all that goes into this sale. Again, it's the premier sale here in North America for yearlings, but has this sale been on your radar in the past?
Not really. I've been racing horses in Australia now for the last 30 years, and you know, with the whole family, and we've had some nice horses. But I've ventured into American horses when Anthony did come to Australia 4 years ago. So and it's just grown that like that.
Your exposure just kind of continued to pick up.
Yeah.
First of all, tell us a little bit about your background. 30 years in the sport. How'd you get into harness racing?
Look, I've been going to the races now since I was a kid, and I've been involved either as a spectator or an owner for the last 50 years. Family's owned some nice horses. I've owned a lot of nice horses, so you know, and now I'm venturing into the American market.
Of course, thestable.ca has made a presence down under.
Yep, that's exactly
but for those that aren't maybe familiar with racing down under, can you kind of explain where it's at? What's the industry like today?
Well, the industry is quite good in Australia at the moment. We've got our main track in Sydney, which is called Menangle Park, and where we race twice a week there, and it's on a what we call a 1,200 metre track. So it's a very good, very fast track, we race there predominantly. And we race all over the state, and you know, I've got horses racing in Queensland, and I've got horses in Victoria, and so I'm having a little bit of success down there. So
there's a lot of passionate people, and we also see here in North America lots of folks that have transitioned, whether it's from Australia or New Zealand. They come over here to race. Back home, how much attention do the folks in the racing industry in Australia pay to what's going on here in North America? Is it kind of hit or miss depending on who the person is?
I think it's hit or miss. I don't think there's a lot of credence is put onto the American market by the Australian people. You know, you get people like myself that have interest in horses, that do come over here and actually buy or purchase horses, but the American racing is not that big on the Australian circuit.
And I guess it kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, my experience knowing about what goes on in Australia and New Zealand is usually just from those that have transplanted over here.
That's right.
To North America.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
You mentioned a little bit earlier about the fact Anthony came to Australia. He spoke about thestable.ca. Can you tell us a little bit about how all that went down?
Yeah. Well, first of all, he went to New Zealand the year before, and we heard about it through a gentleman from central New South Wales, actually, and he told us to get in touch with Anthony, and which we did, and Anthony was good enough to come down the following year, and I think it was in February. It was during our carnival time, and it was your winter time here, so it was a good time for Anthony to escape. You know, where it's minus 10 here, it's 40 over there.
Wow.
You know, so it's very hot, dry conditions. So yeah, Anthony come down. I chaperoned him around New South Wales. He spoke at 3 different tracks: Menangle, Bathurst, and Newcastle. He had a good look at the countryside too, as well. So it was a bit of sightseeing as well, and we brought him down, and he spoke at these 3 venues and told us about the thestable.ca. And through his speaking, I suggested to Anthony that I'll just to taste what he's involved in harness racing and the thestable.ca ownership program. I'd go into 2.
Right.
Into 2 horses, and I only bought a 1% share of them, but it was enough to see how the whole operation works, and now I've got about 20 horses, so I don't know if I'm a fool or what. You know?
That's the story we seem to get from a lot of the clients. So
Yeah.
it snowballs, right? And
Yeah,
you get
that's
more
right.
involved
Yeah.
with each passing
Yeah.
year, and
Yeah.
obviously a little bit of success makes
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
feel a lot better.
That's right.
For yourself, you talk about some of the horses that we'll be seeing here tonight. And I've talked a lot about some of the sires.
Yeah.
What's the level of how many some of these sires that we see here tonight that are racing in Australia as
Well,
well?
look, Captain Treacherous is the #1 sire in Australia.
Okay.
You know, his service fee in Australia is 25,000. So you can't you know it's and it's a select mares that go to him. Right. And it you know I've got 2 mares going to him this year. So I'm hoping to get a couple of colts out of him. So but yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, there's Captain Treacherous. Huntsville's down there as well. He's doing a good sort of a job, and we got a lot of European trotters there.
Right.
Or you know, likes of Love You and Ready Cash and things like that. So they're all coming down to Australia, but it's on a seaman basis only. You know, but still, we've got the access to a lot of European horses, and we've got access to a lot of American horses as well. Down by the Seaside's another good horse that comes down to comes to Australia as well. So you know, we do get a number of horses from here that come down to Sydney.
And down by the seaside, obviously making his presence known here
That's
with his
exactly right.
first
Yeah.
few crops here
Yeah.
in North America.
Yeah.
You mentioned about the seasons changing.
Yeah.
The premier event, is that around the carnival in February?
Well, February is the beginning of the carnival till the end of March. Our main race is called the Miracle Mile, where the 8 best pacers in Australasia do battle. You know, and it's invitation only. I was lucky enough about 5 or 6 years ago to have a horse in the race, even though we didn't do very good. But you know, I still feel honoured to be selected. You know, it's purely selected event. So you can't just nominate. You got to get selected to go into the race. So it's a pure invitation race.
Now, before we wrap things
Yeah.
up here, I know you're looking forward what's going to happen here tonight, but in Australia, is there a version of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale? Is there a premier yearling sale in Australia?
Look, that we have different sales. We have one in Melbourne, one in Sydney, one in Brisbane. They're premier sales. So we stick to those 3. There's no difference in what you do over here. So yeah, no, it's all good.
All right, and lastly here for yourself, is there any horse specifically? I know you don't want to tip your hand, but here tonight, you got your eye on anything specifically?
Look, Anthony and I have been looking at a couple. There's a couple of Captain Treacherous that we like. Just wait and see what happens. You know, if it tips over the wrong side of the ledger, I'll be going home empty-handed.
Right.
So you know, but I'll certainly be buying one, or if not, if I don't buy one, I'll go into shares with one. You know, so we'll get one.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it, Dan.
Okay.
Thanks so much for taking some time and joining us on the desk here.
Thank you.
Welcome to Lexington.
Okay.
I hope
Thank
you have a great time here, and best of luck at the sale.
Thank you.
All right, Dan Cordina with us, and at this time, we're going to bring another member of our broadcast team here this week. Jamie McDonald is with us, and she is caught up with David Reed.
We welcome David Reed now to thestable.ca's overview of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Now, David, you're kind of on double duty here. We'll start with, first, you're the president of Preferred Equine, but you're also secondhand in working with, you're the co-sales manager with the Lexington Selected Sale. So how are you today and doing this double duty?
Yeah, no, I'm actually pretty good, actually. We're about an hour and a half from the opening session, and the double duty we've been doing it a long time, and the sale itself is co-managed with myself and Randy, and it's a process that really starts the day after the sale. It concludes this year to the beginning of next year. So, right from the inspection to the pedigrees to the seating of the sale and etc. So it's something that takes a full year-round effort by Randy, myself, and our sales team to develop that. And we're very excited about coming into this year's sale with we think we have a very deep quality catalog, and we have big shoes to fill compared to last year, but we really want to offer the best horses we could offer in the marketplace. We'll take care of what happens there. Preferred Equine, we've been established for a long time, represent a lot of the major breeders, and it's really go through the same process. Randy and myself, and obviously the breeders, they decide jointly with myself if they want to try and sell here, sell in Harrisburg, sell in London, wherever. So we offer services at multiple facilities. So, but here we're excited about this week here, and we have 145 in our draft, and we're selling 14 on opening night. And in fairness, I think the other breeders that are selling horses here at the sale have done a great job, and they should be commended for that.
Absolutely. I've taken a walk around the grounds today. The facility is amazing. This is my first time here at Lexington, so I've kind of been blown away by the whole aspect of, looking at the horses before the sale happening soon. But talking about yours that that you've consigned for this week and today, are there any notables that you think might be top sellers?
I never like to really single out, any particulars, because the marketplace will tell you that, right? So we have some that we think are going to be better sellers than others, but you get surprises, both up and down, and we really just think we have a good offering tonight of a good mixture. We got two nice pacing fillies we're selling tonight. We have two nice pacing colts we're selling tonight. We have a number of trotting colts we're selling tonight, and a few trotting fillies. So we really think tonight we're well aligned, and truthfully, when you make the decision back in August for the sessions coming in, I'm happy with our horses here tonight. So I'm excited for tonight, and I think in fairness, I think we have a really deep, strong consignment for the whole week, and good individuals, and we've had great traffic so far this week, and just in the sales office, and we allow online bidding with proxybid.com, and people can sign up for there, and we're having good response there. So really, wherever you are in the world, you're able to bid, and in being stable.ca, you guys will appreciate that because you have fans from all the world and investors, and it's happy to see you guys down here doing the broadcast, and anything anything that the sales company can do to encourage horse ownership, whether it be solo ownership, partnership ownership, or fractional interest, we're eager to try and please all aspects of the customers that we can do.
It's great to hear everyone being so accommodating and really backing the stable.ca's fractional ownership and encouraging others to do so as well. It can kind of gain so much flow, as you said, throughout the the nation and different nations around the world, other than the time change, having to stay up and do that bidding. But talking about kind of rewinding about bringing horses into your consigning, how do you decide what horses you want to be under the preferred name?
So we understand that the breeder, they always have, we call them good horses, average horses, and poor horses. But there's no poor horse. It's just where we can find the best marketplace for that. Personally, myself or my staff, we try to go out and see all the yearlings that we're representing in the spring of the year. That really gives us we feel it gives us an advantage, or at least a knowledgeable base that we can try to target a sale. But geographically, it plays a difference. Some people prefer Lexington. Some people would prefer Harrisburg. Depends on where you are. So it's really a blend. And then we'll make suggestions as we see it. We try to forecast the market a little bit best you can. You measure first crop sires, you measure jurisdictions, you measure where do you think those numbers are going to be up or going to be down. So there's really at Preferred we use a lot of different data points to try to steer our customer in the right direction. But at the end of the day, it's their decision. We just try to lead them in the right direction if we can.
And speaking of your customer, someone walks into the preferred section here at the sale. What type of experience do you want them to have?
We want them to have the best experience possible. We're well staffed. Staffing is becoming more of an issue within the industry, so I'm not excluded from that. But that being said, we have an experienced sales staff, and we have a system here that our team is used to, and we really want to have them have the best experience, both horses and the customers, because the horses, if they show themselves to their maximum capability, we foresee that the customers are going to enjoy them or try to like them as much as they can. But really expose the product. Going back to making predictions or whatever, the public's going to make their decision. What they're willing to pay, what they're willing to sacrifice, what they're willing to maybe go a little extra on. So we just really want to expose our yearlings best as possible, market them the best as possible. We're very proud of our graduates, and at Preferred we represent small breeders, large breeders, mid-sized breeders, and like tonight we have a variation of Canadian owned, we have American owned, we have some foreign owned. So we can represent a breeder that has 2 yearlings to sell a year, or it could have 20. So we have a great variety, and with that, our jurisdictional offering is good. We have New York, we have New Jersey, we have Pennsylvania, we have Kentucky, we have Ohio on Friday night. So it's really an offering, Ontario. So we really pride ourselves on have something for everybody, and I've said that often, and then there's no greater example of that as this year, in my opinion.
And not just Preferred having something for everyone, but the sale in general. We all know that, today, Monday night, kind of the big horses go, the big money comes in. And as we kind of get to the end of the sale, I don't want to say cheap horses, but the ones that are more affordable for smaller stables or smaller owners. And, people who come through, behind big money owners or within big money owners, and, treating everyone the same and not just running to the people who have the deep pockets. Is that a challenge at times here?
It's not a challenge at Preferred. We've done this a long time, and we try to give the maximum effort to all horses. And we understand that the marketplace is different, but here again, when a breeder that we're representing made that mating choice 2 years ago, it was a long time, and so we realize that we all have, better than others, but we just try to maximize it because it's an asset, and whether it's a $15,000 horse or a $50,000 horse or a $500,000 horse, we just try to maximize it the best as possible, and we just, like I said before, just expose the horses to the public, and the public will make their decision.
Thank you so much for your time here. Good luck this week with Preferred and with the sale as well.
Yeah, appreciate it, and thanks for everybody at thestable.ca, and good luck to all you guys.
As the industry's leading sales agency, Preferred Equine recently introduced its exciting new online sales portal, Preferred Equine Online. Developed by our experienced sales team, the powerful new platform with cutting-edge technology makes buying and selling easy from the comfort of your home or office over any device. Our experienced sales team offers full customer service for buyers and sellers as it relates to the collection, distribution, and transfer of the horses offered. Sellers can enter a horse as easy as 1, 2, 3 with a searchable database while allowing comments, photos, and other documents. Buyers can view live pedigrees, past performances, and race videos. To create your account or learn more, visit www.preferredequine.com or call 914-773-7777.
Own a little and love it a lot. Thestable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. Thestable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at thestable.ca.
Another great look at Fasig-Tipton here in Lexington, Kentucky, home of the 2022 Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. As you can see, quite the facility here. It doesn't get much better than this, and people are starting to file in as we get set for the first night of the 2022 Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Mark McKelvey once again right here at the desk getting you ready. As like I mentioned, we inch a little bit closer. 7 p.m. the start time for session number 1. Keep in mind sessions 2, 3, and 4 coming up tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday. They'll kick off at 2 p.m. before Friday's final session moves back to the evening at 7 p.m. You will be able to keep up to date with all of our coverage this week by following us at thestable.ca on Facebook. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And we'll be up a couple hours before the session begins on each of the next 4 days. So we'll have lots of coverage, and over the next few days, we'll have a chance to go back and recap the purchases thestable.ca has made in the prior session. As we get set for session number 1, we are asking you, who do you think is going to be the sale topper for this year's 2022 Lexington Select sale? We've had a couple of people chime in, and it seems that everybody is on the same page with who they think is going to be the sale topper. First of all, Wendy James believes that it'll be hip number 47. So too does Sherry Collison. Hip number 47, if you are wondering, that is Holy Grail Hanover. This is a bay colt by Green Shoe out of Swan for All mare, Hannelore Hanover. Her first foal selling here tonight. We could go on probably for an hour about the accolades and accomplishments of Hannelore Hanover, one of the best trotting mares of the current generation, and her first foal is selling here tonight. And not just her first foal, also from the first crop of Green Shoe, that is hip number 47. So that, to a couple of you have guessed, will be the sale topper. If you want to continue to chime in, letting us know who you think is going to bring the biggest amount, make sure you do leave us a note in our comments. We're getting closer towards the start of session number 1, and we continue to take a look at a few more of the yearlings that thestable.ca has penciled, has circled, the ones they'll be watching here tonight. So let's jump to that right now and get a closer look at several of the yearlings that'll be passing through the ring in just a little bit.
We have number 66, Captain Maddie. Now, another horse on day 1 that probably will draw a lot of attention from a lot of people, but nevertheless, we're going to take a look at her anyway. This is Captain Treacherous filly out of a Western Terror mare, Maddie's Terror Girl. Now, Maddie's Terror Girl herself, 2-year-old market 53, $312,000 made. She's had one foal that raced, took a 3-year-old mark at 52 and 4, her named Girl on the Beach. So I guess this would be a 3/4 sister to Girl on the Beach. Now the second dam, straight shooting and drop the ball are in there. Just a beautifully put together filly. We've had a couple of Captain Treacherouses. They come about medium large, medium size. She's really well put together. And as I said, going to likely draw a lot of attention. But I'd said to you guys a couple of days ago, we do have some clients that are on the lookout for a, let's just say, a rather high-end pacer. So I don't know if this filly fits the bill, and I don't really know what she's going to bring or go for. But again, no different than the trotters in the sense that we are going to take a look at all of the horses on our list, price them all, sit there and watch and see what happens at the sale here. This is a day 1 dual eligible Pennsylvania, Kentucky filly, February 26th. Foal. I suspect she's going to bring many, many dollars, but we will be watching. Number 66, Captain Maddie. So, number 78, Only One Cosmo. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think this filly, well, I can't imagine she's not going to go for a ton of money. She's not a huge filly, little toed in, but man, oh man, when you look at the page, this is the first foal from a Trixton mare named Only F. Only F, never raced. Her claim to fame is she is a full sister to Lantern Cosmos, a mark of 52 and 3, $1 million made by Viking Cosmos. Now you look at the entire family. That mare, Lantern Cosmos, is the dam of the bank, King of the Hill. The third dam was exported by Pine Chip, exported to Europe. Going Kronos, world champion, made $746,000, is in that dam. This entire family is loaded with money and speed, which is only making the case that this horse is unaffordable. Having said that, it is day 1. She is a Walner, dual eligible. Geez, I'm really talking myself out of being able to afford this filly. But man, oh man, she looks nice. Can you walk her down for me, sir? She looks really, really nice. This is the type of horse where could be mildly affordable or might be astronomically unaffordable. I don't really know, and that's the beauty of the sales, is that you can never tell. A little tone in, but geez, you're gonna have to be really picky there. The beauty of the sales is you never can tell. And as I said to Steve, you know, we have to look at every horse we're interested in, and we have to be prepared to buy every single horse because we don't know which ones just kind of fall a little bit short. So number 78 is not likely in that category, but nevertheless, What a good looking filly. Number 78, only one Cosmo is. We'll be watching closely, although I suspect we won't be getting our hand up here. Number 78, only one Cosmo. She's a good looking filly, eh? So we're back, we're looking at a number of horses for day one. This is a horse that really caught my eye, and I can't really grasp. I don't know where the give is going to be. And people, you know, there's going to be people that are going to say, Anthony, the sale's going to be strong no matter what, through and through. I disagree. There is only a certain pool of money out there for horse racing. I don't care how rich the people are that show up or how much money they have. There is still, every year, on average, I bet you if you went back and looked how much money was spent year in and year out, and then break that down to sire, gait, gender, you would see correlations. You would see similarities. And I truly believe that there is going to have to be some give. Is it going? I said it was going to be Father Patrick last year, and I was wrong. Is it going to be Father Patrick this year because Green Shoe is out? I don't know. Muscle Hill's getting a little longer in the tooth right now and still throw some good horses. You breed a good mare to Muscle Hill, you probably have a good chance of having a good horse. Number 101, Bright Star, is a New Jersey and Kentucky eligible March 24th colt. Now, his brother, Starita's got what, is that a 3? It is. $307,000 made. Morning Glow is racing. That would be the full brother or sister on the bottom of that first dam. The second dam is Passionate Glide. 4 foals, 1 winner. So that's a concern. Come here, bud. 4 foals, 1 winner on the front dam. That is a concern, especially when you're talking about day one horses. But man, I always tell everybody, you want to have good looking horses, right? We're not racing catalogs, we're not racing videos, we're racing horses. And this is a good looking horse. Hey, come here, hey. This is a good looking horse. So this is a Muscle Hill out of a Cantab Hall mare, March 24th. Yearling, dual eligible, New Jersey and Kentucky. Very interesting looking horse. Can you walk him down for me? His name is Bright Star, and he's selling in the latter part of day one tonight at Lexington. Hey, all right. Has there been any work? This guy have any OCDs out or anything? 101? No? Left hock? Okay. That doesn't bother me. Good. So we're down here at Winback. We just looked at a Better's Delight I really liked, and this is a filly. We had to wait in line to look at this filly. This is Senorita Siete. I assume that means 7. Senorita Siete is a Chapter 7 out of a muscle mass mare, Tosca. Now I remember Tosca, nice mare. Threw some nice horses, and the whole family's nice. The second dam has Lagerfeld, Guccio in it. Sergeant York from a million years ago was in the third dam. This is a nice filly. Really, really well put together. And actually, quite frankly, as far as Chapter 7s are concerned, she's really large, really big. This is a good-looking, very correct filly. Selling later in day one out of Winback now. It's in New York and Maryland eligible, but you're not going to be racing this horse in Maryland. There's 0% chance of that. So you have a New York bred filly. May 28th, jeepers, she is big for a May 28th filly. May 28th filly out of a muscle mass mare, and this is number 115. She's going to attract a lot of attention. Senorita Siete. Selling here on day number 1 and in Lexington. Can you walk her down for me? Can you walk her down for me, sir? Walk her down. Goodness. It's a good looking filly. That's a May 28th, Chapter 7.
Jesus Christ.
I know. There's one good looking. There's no work done on her?
Oh, I haven't looked.
Just take a look, 115.
Yeah, I took.
Yeah, she took a picture of it.
As the industry's leading sales agency, Preferred Equine recently introduced its exciting new online sales portal, Preferred Equine Online. Developed by our experienced sales team, the powerful new platform with cutting-edge technology makes buying and selling easy from the comfort of your home or office over any device. Our experienced sales team offers full customer service for buyers and sellers as it relates to the collection, distribution, and transfer of the horses offered. Sellers can enter a horse as easy as 1, 2, 3 with a searchable database while allowing comments, photos, and other documents. Buyers can view live pedigrees, past performances, and race videos. To create your account or learn more, visit www.preferredequine.com or call 914-773-7777.
All right, welcome back as we're getting set for night one of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Back on the desk, Mark McKelvey. I'm pleased to be joined now by Joe Thompson from Winback Farms. And Joe, thanks so much. I know on a night like tonight, you're probably gonna be busy. You're gonna likely have a lot of anticipation as well building up, but you're taking a little time to chat with us and we appreciate it. And first of all, when you get to the Lexington Sale, night one, this is probably as good as it gets for yearling sales in our sport, isn't it?
Lexington's always one of the best sales in the country. And the weather's down here, and it's almost like a festivity rather than regular sale. You know, some sales you go to, it's just hard work and it's like being at the stockyards or something. But with this sale, it is a good one, and it's always if you're fortunate enough to get good weather, everybody has a good time looking at horses and buying horses, and then the racing will be going on this weekend, so that it's always good down here.
You're right, it's a combination for what exactly a racing fan or somebody in the sport wants, and I mean even tonight you can already feel kind of the good energy that it's going to be. Night one usually comes with lots of fireworks. Are you anticipating more of that this year?
I think the first few nights will be really good. In fact, I anticipate the whole sale is going to be pretty good. You know, each night it will go down a little bit. But usually they seed it pretty good, and the horses that should bring the most money are in the first few nights. It doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen, because you always have horses that in the other nights that bring a lot of money. And then on the last night, they always try to do some regional horses, which they sell really good too.
Right, with the way the programs are in some of these different states and provinces, of course, there's going to be people coming in towards the end of the sale that they're looking to spend money as well. You guys have 94 horses here this year for this Lexington Select Yearling Sale. Talk a bit about the group that you guys have brought here. You're obviously looking forward to seeing how they perform, but how's the traffic been and everything heading into night one, number one?
We came down, the horses came down Thursday for Friday, and so they kind of slept on Friday maybe, you know, and then the staff came down a little earlier and getting ready for it. But Saturday was good, Sunday was good, and today's been steady and pretty good all day long. So, and the right horses were out. But you know, anymore at these sales, people kind of stick with the day, so they look at the horses that are going to sell today. Then they'll have a chance to look at the horses tomorrow. And first couple of days they'll look at them, and then they start to spread it out a little bit.
You mentioned about having your staff come down here. It takes a village, I guess is the saying, when you guys want to put on something like this. How much staff does it require when you guys bring 94 horses, for example?
Well, we kind of play it day by day, but we have probably 4 or 5 guys that show horses a lot, and then we have 9 or 10 that came down from Philadelphia, and then we hire probably 9 or 10 here. So we have a pretty good staff to take care of it. We've always felt like when people come down consignment, they want to see the horses and they don't want to stand around waiting for you to get them ready. So we try to accommodate and we try to put as many out as we can. And our horses are well broken, so we can bring a lot of them out and not worry about them trying to kill somebody or something, you know?
Right, yeah, they're ready when they come here. And of course, as I mentioned, the last couple of days, very busy with people inspecting and getting their looks at these yearlings. When you see people come on by and you see different owners and different trainers, and they take a few looks at a specific horse, for example, does that kind of tip your hand that you know this one's probably going to bring a lot of action? And do you ever get surprised sometimes where there's a horse that doesn't get many looks and all of a sudden they bring more than you were expecting?
Sure. And the other is also true.
Right.
You get a lot of looks and the horse doesn't bring what you think. And, you know, but in the end, it kind of averages out. And you do get a good indication of which horse is going to bring the most money by how often they've been out. But with any more, you know, with Ontario being as good as it is with the Sire Stakes program, I think they just raised the goal to 300,000. They raised the grassroots to 75,000, the final, and they have a lot of legs. So being able to buy a horse to race in that's a good situation. New York has good purses. Pennsylvania has good purses. Ohio just came around, and that's really good. We breed some in Delaware. It's more of a local program, a regional program, but the purses from slots really help the industry to be healthy and grow. And it just seems like, you know, people can buy a horse and kind of stay close to home and do very well.
Exactly. And
have fun.
Yeah.
You know, if you're just getting in it for the money, it's wrong. Don't come. Just don't come. It's good. You're going to be disappointed. But if you come in it expecting to have a lot of fun and participate and get involved, come to the sales and look at horses and have a good proxy that'll come down here and look at them for you. Like Anthony and his wife Amy, they see so many horses. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. And they have a lot of people that are expecting them to perform. So it's fun to show horses to a guy like that because you know you're going to get a lot of exposure and it's good for the farm.
Exactly, it certainly is. So last couple questions for you. First of all here, I know you probably get asked this all the time around these sales. Do you have one horse that you're expecting is going to bring the most from your consignment?
Well, if you don't release this right away, I'll tell you.
Well, we are live, so if you want, we can hold back, but it would be here tonight. Is that right?
Tonight, I think it's our HIP 115. It's a Chapter 7 filly. She just got all the parts. She just looks the part. She's a big filly, bigger filly. I shouldn't say a big filly because that's always bad, but you know, a filly with about the right size. She's got the length to her, she's got the look to her, she's got a little zip to her, and so we expect her to probably be our best one tonight, if not through the sale. So that'll be good.
We'll be keeping our eye for sure. And lastly for you, when the sale gets rolling, what's your routine on a night like tonight? Do you like to set up shop in one spot? Do you like to roam around?
Chew my fingers off.
Right. I can imagine. There's plenty of moments of nerves.
No, we try to.
Here, I'm sure.
We try to be cool. Yeah, we try to stay calm, and you know, the thing about a horse sale is always the page is always turning. So you know, after you sell one, you don't have time to. We sell so many that you just don't have time to cry about it. You got to move on, get the next one, and you're always into the next page. Like, you know, we sell all 5 nights, but we're trying to play one day at a time.
All right. Well, we wish you nothing but the best. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and good luck over the week.
Thank you.
All right. Joe Thompson with Winback Farms. We're going to take another timeout in a second, but before we get to that, Jamie McDonald standing by. She's got another special guest right on the spot. Let's go to Jamie.
Bob Hutchinson joins us now, part of thestable.ca with 22 horses in fractional ownership. Before we get into how you got involved with thestable.ca, let's just kind of rewind and how you got involved in racing. You're a small animal vet, so what made you switch to that big animal industry?
Well, we grew up working for a veterinarian that did standardbreds. And it was just one of the things that seemed like a natural for us. And when we got out of college, and myself and my partner and friend went and borrowed money from a bank to come to Lexington to buy our first yearling, and it turned out to be very successful. And it's just been a natural thing since then. And we just are comfortable in the horses we buy, what we like to see. And we're, you know, I think there's parts of romance for us. You know, as I was telling you, my wife and I came to Lexington on our honeymoon when I was in vet school. And it's just always been a part of us. And the horses just continue to give us something to obsess about. And having my son Randy in the partnership with me in Hutchison Harness LLC, it gives us a chance every day to talk about the horses and how they're doing. And I think this year, I mean, to brag just a little bit, of all the horses we own all of or part of, I think we've had 58 wins this year. We had the horses started in the Brown Jug that made the final. We were in on Swinging Senorita that won the Next Generation. It was third in the Sire Stake final. So it's been a great ride. And as I said, Lexington, us is just a wonderful place.
Speaking of a wonderful place, how have you seen it change? You said you came here on your honeymoon. I don't want to date you too far back, but you told me this is your 51st straight year coming
That's
here
right,
with your
that's
wife.
right. And we've been married 51 years. And of course, it used to be different. You'd come in and it was all horse farms. Everything was horse farms. And you'd drive down Broad Street, and there's the thoroughbred record, and you'd be driving down to the Red Mile and all that. And over the years, I guess fortunately, unfortunately, times change, but an awful lot of these farms grew houses over the years or businesses. And when we first came down, like Elmerhurst Farm, which is part of Ken Ramsey's farm now, which is thoroughbreds, but that's just a great place. And Albert Adams would take us around and show us the horses. And I'm sure we were a pain in everybody's neck, but a friend of mine and we just came down and we just went up and introduced ourselves to all these people. And I remember the first year they moved out here to the Faces Tipton. They used to have these great parties where they'd have entertainment. Like I remember the first couple of years were the Oak Ridge Boys and Tanya Tucker, and you'd come and it was just a whole different life back then. But we got to enjoy all that, and it really was a super, super time.
Now, speaking of, our current time, how did you get involved with thestable.ca and owning 22 horses?
All right. Well, actually, we started out, we used to race in Canada with some horses. We had a Camluck filly, and Anthony actually drove for us. And we said, who's this guy driving our horse? And somebody said, well, he got great raves as being a horseman and things like that. And my son Randy, actually, I think, knew Anthony a little bit before. And way back, Anthony, when he first started, he was going to put this together. I think Randy had talked to him. Maybe they were at Delaware at the horse sale. And Anthony bought a horse called Bourbon and Barley, which he turned over pretty good. And Anthony and Randy, I think, have become pretty good friends. I know they talk a lot on the phone and different things like that. And, it's just the wheeling dealing part of it, I think, is what we enjoy with it. But we've had great success. Good people, Anthony and Amy are good people. We also have some other horses with other trainers. So, I mean, we're not just solely with them. But it's just been fun. And I said we've had success. And way back, and I give Randy credit, he says, Anthony really seems to have a knack with trotting fillies. Now, I know Anthony right now is saying, I can do a pacer as well. Probably he can, but that's really one of the things when we're talking about, trotting fillies, and we got more involved with that. And we came from a background that was all pacers, so having the trotters was kind of a novelty. And we didn't know if trotters ever stayed flat, and they do sometimes. But it's been fun, and, the horses are good. And now with the new ones we just picked up at the jug sale, and we've been looking at horses down here. So just great. Every day's Christmas, in the horse business.
That's a great way to put it. And even in Kentucky here, coming over to Lexington, you're from Ohio.
Yes.
And what else do you do? You've done some other things around town, and tell us over the past years kind of what you look forward to coming, not just here for the sale, but other things as well.
Well, we like going up to some of the smaller towns, Midway, Georgetown, some of the little shops. Coffee Times Coffee House I think we were there today. This is their 39th year, and I think we can remember going there probably their first few years after the sale to have the Mocha Joes, and just so much of its tradition. We just go out to the different places. We've done some bourbon tasting. We have our T-shirts from doing the Bourbon Trail over the years down here. Just made a lot of friends and all that. So it just is just memories, and a lot of it's driving around saying, do you remember when we did this and that? And it's just good times for us.
Now, is there one thing that you specifically look forward to during this week here at Lexington?
Well, we really look forward to good weather, because we always say, even at home, that this feels like a Lexington day. So I think it's coming down and be able to have a whole week where we have horses. Usually we oftentimes have something racing, but plus, doing a little shopping, doing a little tasting, going out. It's just one of those weeks. It's almost like going back to the first time we came down, and still, trying to get all the great memories. But this morning went out, did a little shopping. There's a big old bookstore we go to that they always have some good stuff. But then a lot of it today was, coming out here, looking at yearlings, the sale tonight where everybody's anticipating some big money being spent. And as I say, it's just one of those joys of our life.
Have you seen a specific horse over your years coming here that really stood out in your mind, whether you purchased it or you saw it being purchased, that was kind of one that you followed?
Well, there's always the good horses every year, and the ones I guess you follow are the ones probably of the horses that I remember being here in Lexington, and I'm not sure he's even purchased here, but Abercrombie, because he was such a great horse and such a game horse. I remember seeing him race here and there at the Red Mile. And but you know, the great horse Niatross time trial back then, where they had, I think, 8,000 to 10,000 people came from around the country to see a standardbred time trial. And the day that Albatross did his back-to-back sub 155 miles, the first time ever, we were here for that. So you know, all of that kind of stuff. You look back at the programs, but you know, just the different generations, different years, different great horses that you saw. I mean, the first horse we ever had down here, Joe O'Brien, who is a famous driver from, I think he's from Prince Edward Island, time trialed a horse and drove her for us and things like that. And, you know, looking back, I didn't appreciate it. Time as the guy wore yellow and white colors. Now I know. I mean, Joe O'Brien talked to us, drove our horse. I mean, those are just heady things that you just look back and you really remember, you know, as far as going on there. And the camping, as we said, we used to bring a motorhome, camp on the turn of the Red Mile. And we'd go to a handball or racquetball court to use their shower, you know, those kinds of stuff. Everything wasn't as great as it was now, but we all survived, brought the kids and grandparents, and all that just builds up, I guess, the Lexington tradition for us.
And you have that connection still to PEI, not with Joe O'Brien now, but with Anthony McDonald and thestable.ca.
And we've been up there a couple times to the Norman Hall pedigree camps. So yeah, beautiful place. And Anthony, and actually, before I knew Anthony, I knew his mother, who ran the shop there at the racetrack no kidding, in the PI. When I first met her, yeah, she was telling me about her sons and different things like that. So my introduction to the McDonald's was not Anthony, it was his mother. So good.
So thank you, Gail, for getting this client many years ago.
Oh, that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. But again, you just enjoy it. And as I say, I think everybody should be doing it. And for us, it's almost like our own sports teams or different things like that. And we're competitive. I mean, very much so. And I guess you need to be.
Well, good luck to this week at the sale if you're looking at anyone, and in your future endeavors here with thestable.ca.
Well, thank you, Jamie. This is wonderful. I appreciate you even asking it. For old people to get a chance to reminisce a little bit, this is great stuff. So thank you.
As we're getting set for night one of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale, we're here at Fasig-Tipton, and the people continue to file in. It's got a good atmosphere here tonight, as you would expect for night number one. I'm pleased to be joined by Mark Stacy. Mark, you're a veteran of these sales now. How many times have you been to Lexington?
I've probably been here 20 times, I guess. Yeah, it's been for at least 20 years, yeah.
And we were just saying how with COVID-19 and the restrictions, some people couldn't get down here. We're expecting there's going to be a large Canadian contingent here this year, but you got here the last few years. You weren't going to miss it, obviously, on the business side of things, but I'm sure you just love getting down here as well.
Oh, it's a really great atmosphere. You know, especially, you know, you go to the sale at night or in the daytime, and you go to the races and you see the best of the best at the races all, you know, most of the weekends, and it's a real horse atmosphere, and it's very enjoyable.
You've got a few horses down here racing. We'll talk about that in a second, but let's focus on the sale right now. We were talking before we came on camera. You've been here since midweek, so nearly a week now, and you had an opportunity to go to the farms and see some of the yearlings. For those watching at home here tonight, how much of an advantage is it, do you think, when you get to see them at the farm, rather than just doing the inspection like a lot of people have here over the last couple of days?
Yeah, I think it's a big advantage. You know, unfortunately, I can't do it as much as I like to, but we did get down. We went to, you know, 2 or 3 farms Thursday and Friday, and you know, if you can get them turned out in the paddock, I think, you know, you're seeing them in their natural state, and I think it really helps. You know, it's a lot more advanced than just seeing them walk up and down the shed row a little bit, and then, you know, it's nice to see them in advance, and then you re-look at them at the sale here, because sometimes you miss the first time.
Right. Now, over the last few days and going back to midweek. How many yearlings in this sale have you had a chance to look at?
I bet you we probably covered about 200 yearlings, and it's been busy.
But from 200, and I kind of already know this answer, but those watching at home though don't. How many are you hoping to come away with here this week? I know now price is obviously something you're going to keep an eye on, but in a perfect world, how many would you leave here with?
Yeah, it's going to depend on the price of them for sure. My budget's at a certain rate, but if I go home with 3 or 4, I guess I'd be really, really happy with that. But I said we're going to go home with 1 or 2 last year, and I think we went home with 7. So you never know. As the sale goes on, many things can happen that you don't expect.
Well, it's all about opportunities, certainly, and you've had plenty of success over the years. You've got some real talented horses, especially this year. Sylvia Hanover, one of them. We won't see her down racing in Lexington. I know the Breeders' Crown's on her radar, but you've raced Warwick-Xenia, and you told me you got 3 horses here this week. How's that juggling racing and being here at the sale? Is it easy to juggle? I know they do their best. The sale doesn't overlap with the racing too much, but how do you balance it?
Yeah, no, it's pretty easy because they separate it pretty good. And I've got Scotty LeCane that works for me. He's down here, so he looks after them most of the time. I go out and train them a little bit, but and then Sean helps too, and so it's really no problem doing that. It makes it more enjoyable, especially for the guys that own them, because they get the best of both worlds.
We were talking about the Ontario Sire Stakes program a little bit earlier in our show, and you've had all kinds of success in that over the years, but there are horses that are Ontario Sire they'll be selling here tonight and over the next few days. How do you find they sell here? Because I know a lot of people believe they bring quite a bit of money. I guess you could say these are supposed to maybe be the best Ontario sired horses, but at the end of the day, it's all about what happens on the track. But what do you think of the group of Ontario sired horses here this year?
Well, I think when you buy in the U.S., even the Ontario breds, the mares, the pedigree's a little stronger. But, the exchange on our dollar really hurts. But I think people forget that. I think they still spend lots, and I think more so they spend more here than they do back home. And I find they're very tough to buy.
What about the group here in this sale this year? I know some people say this is maybe the best night one ever. That's up for debate, certainly. This sale usually performs very strong, and it has the last few years. But what are you anticipating over this week?
Well, I think it's going to be the same. I think, it'd be right on par with last year. And, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and a lot of people made money with a lot of different horses this year. And so I think you're going to see a strong sale again.
And I'm not going to ask you to tip your hand and tell us who you're going to be targeting here, but going into night number 1, are there several that you're going to be watching closely?
Yeah, we got our eye on a few trotting fillies, and I'm always looking for Ontario breds as well. But yeah, no, I always preferred the trotters, but our stable usually goes with both.
And my last question for you here, I see all these people filing in. Some like to hang out at the back, some like to be right in the main arena. Where do you like to be situated here at the Lexington sale?
For the last 5 or 6 years, I've been sitting right at the back of the ring there. And Roger is the bid catcher, and we're pretty good buddies, and he looks after me pretty good.
So you got your routine, and I'm sure it's not going to change here tonight.
I try to stick to the same.
All right, Mark. Well, best of luck here with this year's sale, and we'll see how many you come away with. But at the end of the day, I guess time will tell, right?
That's right.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Mark Stacey, he'll be active here this week. We've got another interview. Jamie is standing by. Let's catch up right now.
Bernie Norn joins us now, and if you know that name, he's been in North America before, and let's talk about that past. Years ago, you started in harness racing when you were just a kid. Can you tell us about how you got involved?
My mom and dad bring me to racetrack one time. I got hooked at 10 years old and really liked it and everything like that. And then I really want to see how it was behind, so I got to apprentice in one guy's place, and I really liked it. So I started working in a barn when I was 16 years old. And then American harness racing always got me too interesting. And I had a friend here when I was 20 who was working with Jimmy Tactor, and he asked me if I want to come over. And it was much easier when you had a friend come over. So I come over when I was 20 years old in 1996 to America. So I worked for Jimmy, and I was thinking, it's going to be fun a year. So it was more than 1 year.
I feel like that happens a lot. People say, a couple months or a summer, and it ends up being, 10 or 15 years later.
Yeah, no, I had a great time with Jimmy. I learned a lot, and then I went on my own, barn in New Jersey, and then I tried my wings in Canada a little bit. I really liked Canada. It was a really nice place to be up there. Lived in Guelph. I trained at training center up there and everything. But then Åke Svanstedt was on the way over, so he called me and asked if I want to be his help. I had second trainer. I thought it was really interesting work to do, so I did that when he come over. So.
And now you're back home in Sweden, but you've come, to Lexington for the sale. Do you come every year?
Yeah, I come everywhere. Yeah, I'm management for Knutsson Trotting. I get to work there when I move home in 2016 for him, and I've been managing for him for 6 years now. So I come every year here for the sale, except 2020 I was not. But I was there last year, so. But it's really fun to see all the big crowds who are going to come this year. So I love to come here. That's the best week all year for me.
What do you really look forward to during the week of Lexington? Is it the horses? Is it, seeing old friends? Is it, the joy or the wonder kind of the yearlings that can bring, right? The what ifs.
Yeah, everything. I love to come here. I watch I expect a lot of yearlings. I really do. I even horse I know we're not going to buy because I save everything, but it's interesting. I love the racing at Red Mile. That's the best thing, and everything. And of course, I meet all the friends I had know over here. And that's, lucky I get to know a lot of people. So it's very nice to say hello, how they doing, and everything like that, in person, So.
Now, when you pull out a yearling to look at from, any consignor that you're looking at, what specifics are you looking for that horse? Does it depend, trotter versus pacer, or, filly versus colt?
No, I usually more look trotters. We have some paces, but it's mostly trotters, and both colts and fillies I look at, but mostly trotters I look at.
Now, conformation or how they're acting or walking, what are those type of signs or signals that you're looking for maybe a next champion?
For me, it's very important. I look at the page, of course, see it has some pedigree, even if the mare underneath in the leave anything, but it's a long time to leave something in the pedigree. It's very important for me. And then I look at the video. It's very important to see how they run, because then you get an idea. If you don't like them on the video, it doesn't matter if they look good, because you're not going to know. And then I, of course, inspect them and make sure that they stand so correctly. And, they can not all horses correctly, but sometimes they can run with it. That's important that they have the engine and, the rear end is very important. So.
Do you rely a lot on the yearling videos?
Yes, I think it's very important. I think that they are very important. They could be much better done, and it's very important because old people have no time to go out on the farms to see them in the paddock, and sometimes that a little bit chasing too and a little bad weather. It's really a lot of in the videos because you want to see if they have the gear and you don't go twice front and everything like that. So I think it's very important with the video.
And rewind a little bit back to, North America versus European harness racing. Kind of, what are some differences you see or that stand out to you?
Yeah, but in Sweden we race longer distance, but bigger field. Here is 600 meters and less field, but it's a lot of money to make here, and the change of the sire and everything, they go very fast growing here fast, so you have a new crop every year for new stallions, so that's to make the sports going forward.
And thestable.ca, as you know, with Anthony McDonald and his wife Amy, is a fractional ownership group. Is that very common in Europe?
Yeah, it's very common. In Sweden it's very common. They can have, it's a big, same as Anthony does in Sweden too, and it's very common with big ownership. And I'm really grateful Anthony started, because then you see it, because people didn't do it before, and now Anthony started, and it's a great idea because some people like to have one. Doesn't matter if they're 1%, they own a share in a horse, and that's fantastic. It's the joy of racing. That's the way you make it happy. So.
Well, thank you for joining us, and have an amazing week here, and say hi to all your friends.
I will. Thank you very much.
And welcome back. We are less than half an hour away from night number 1 of the 2022 Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. You're watching our, I guess you can call pregame coverage right here at thestable.ca on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Don't forget to leave us a comment. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Mark McKelvey at the desk. Pleased to be joined now by Nick Salvi, almost Lexington royalty, I guess I could call you.
Well, yeah, I've got quite a history here. Not all something that we could talk about this evening on the air, but yeah, we're into my wheelhouse, the most wonderful time of the year.
It certainly is. I'm a big fan of getting down here, and you spend lots of time here in Lexington, but on a night like tonight, I know the first night of the sale brings everybody out. There's a great atmosphere. Do you feel that buzz on night 1 every year?
Yeah, it really is I think the anticipation starts building, during the summer when people like being at the Meadowlands in the summer, baby races start, and as you work through the season and get through the Hambletonian, people start to think about Lexington, and they start to think about what they got to do to replenish, and then the catalog comes out, and then the first night of the sale, and yeah, it's a great build-up, and usually it lives right up to the billing.
The word we've been using all day long is fireworks. We expect plenty of them tonight. It's a loaded night number one. For yourself as a fan, what are you looking for? What do you want to see on this night one? Are you looking for the horse that goes for $1 million? Is there anything that you keep your eyes on specific?
Not specifically. The sale this year is really heavily trot leaning. There's really a lot of big pedigrees, and of course they front loaded, so most of those are going tonight. First crop of green shoe, and he's got a Mission Brief colt in the sale, a Hanover Hanover, they're going to be big numbers, and they're fun to watch. I just like to go sit in the arena and watch the horses.
Take it all in, no doubt. And again, we still have time for you, for those watching at home, to leave your comment with who you think the sale topper is going to be. A few of our viewers have already chimed in, wondering if it'll be that green shoe Hanover Hanover. That one likely will bring quite a big ticket. Talk a little bit about the season that it was at the Meadowlands, and you mentioned now we're focused here on the fall, the Grand Circuit, Breeders' Crown's right around the corner. It wasn't that long ago, Hambletonian Day. That was a wonderful day. We were down there. We really enjoyed it. How's the summer been, and now leading into this Grand Circuit season?
Well, it's my great good fortune to kind of be where everything goes on. Like work at the Meadowlands, and so I'm there for the stake season. This year we were really lucky to get all the right horses. The fields filled up nicely. Bulldog Hanover made a difference. He got people to come out to the track, and he's still doing that. The Hambletonian, the day turned out great. We had good weather. We had great races. And, we had a great summer. The handle was a near record handle for Hambletonian Day. So there's really nothing to complain about. And as soon as that's over, I get in the car and come to Lexington. So
you can't beat that.
It's a lucky life.
You mentioned Bulldog Hanover. I know we're going to see him here this weekend. What do you make of this season? You've seen a lot of great horses over the years. I'm constantly having the debate right now with lots of friends of mine about, is Bulldog maybe the greatest standardbred ever? What we're seeing right now is maybe the greatest stretch of racing ever. But what have you seen Bulldog Mania, and how much have you been enjoying it?
It's fun to watch. He makes you a fan, even, a grizzled old guy like me. It's really remarkable how fresh he still seems to be. I mean, he showed up, first he raced in Canada, and he raced hard in the race at Flamborough, and then he got to America, and he got introduced to Dexter Dunn, and those two just paired up beautifully. And he ran through a month there where he went 4 races in a row in like 47 or faster. And then Jack freshened him up a touch. He won the Canadian Pacing Derby as easy as a horse could. And then the other night over in Ohio, from all reports, the track wasn't great, certainly wasn't conducive to speed. He was out the whole way on a windy night, and like Trevor Denman said, he looked like he just jumped in when they came off the last turn.
Exactly.
So yeah, as far as like a stretch of racing, I'm old enough to remember Cam Fella. It's hard to compare because it's hard to remember, but he had a great run. Sweet Lou had a great run, was it maybe 7 or 8 years ago? But, he certainly stacks up with those.
And what you mentioned a little bit earlier, I agree with the fact he's bringing out people to the track. He makes you a fan, whether you're already in this game or you're somebody that's maybe just coming out to the track and you get to see this star horse. We need those star horses. We need them badly. I work for Jeff Garrell, and he's been on the soapbox about that for as long as I can remember. And, there are extenuating circumstances. When guys get a top horse, they tend to like to cash them in. But, I think Bulldog Hanover proves that when people can identify with the horse and he can develop kind of a following, that those people are more likely to at least take some interest and possibly become fans. Lastly here, Nick, because we're getting closer to the start of night number one, we're going to have Anthony come in to wrap things up. I know the viewers watching are excited to see what thestable.ca is able to do over these next few days. But for those that aren't here in Lexington, we've already been talking about how wonderful it is down here, but can you sum it up? Just what is this 2 weeks of Grand Circuit racing and the sale like if you've never been here? From the perspective of the people that bring the horses, it's unique because everybody's on the grounds. When we're racing the summer in New Jersey,
And when you're at Mohawk, there's no barn area. People are remote. You know, it's race and return. Here, everybody comes to Lexington, kind of takes a deep breath. The social element is high. You know, there are a couple of nice restaurants downtown. And everybody can get together in the same spot and be social like they really can't be anywhere else. And at the same time, if we're lucky enough to have nice weather, we see great races, we see all the horses we want to see, and sometimes we see them do remarkable things.
Absolutely. I lied. I actually had 2 questions left because one just came to mind. You mentioned about great performances. If we get the right day, can you see Bulldog Hanover breaking 145 and 4?
Yeah, and he needs a little help with the pace, right? Remarkably, with the race at the Meadowlands, you know, he pretty much did it without much help. You know, if there'd be a little something going on in front of him that he could pace into and come off cover the way he comes off cover, then yeah, I think he can go faster under the right circumstance. I mean, Dex can't get him stopped now.
Oh, you're right about that.
Right, you know, he needs that thing they put across the dog track at the end.
It's been awesome to watch, and I'm really looking forward to what could happen here this weekend. My last question, do you have a restaurant recommendation for those of us that are here or those that might be coming down this week?
I live on the west side of town, and I would recommend there are 2 on Jefferson Street, Distilled and the Blue Heron, that are a little off the beaten track. They're not right downtown, so people may not be aware of them as they are some of the other places, but they're both very nice. Blue Heron's a steakhouse, Distilled is continental American food, and yeah, you couldn't go wrong with either one of those, I don't think.
Well, hopefully our viewers are making note of that because if you sign off on it, I'm sure they're great.
I love to eat.
You've got the answers for us. I said that the Kentucky Tourism Board might as well hire Nick. Nobody sells Lexington the way that he does. Nick, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you continue to enjoy your time down here. Enjoy night 1 of the sale.
I will. Thanks for having me.
All right. Jamie McDonald is standing by. She's got another interview.
We now welcome Dr. Mike Latessa, a vet in Ohio, based in Ohio, and working with thestable.ca and their yearlings, their racehorses, all of that jazz. But before we get into that and your day-to-day work, let's rewind a little bit and kind of go back. How did you get into harness racing? Not the vet side, but just interested in horses.
Right. My family was in the business, so as a kid, my grandfather and father, we had horses, and you know, I immediately fell in love with the standardbreds and knew I wanted to do this in my career. And I really, you know, took interest in the vet medicine part of it, and I knew this is what I want to work with, so that's what I pursued, and luckily and fortunately, I'm able to do that daily.
Speaking of your daily, you know, activities or work, what is it like being a vet for large animals, specifically racehorses?
It's great. You know, I love working with the horses. You know, they're athletes. I love working day to day with the trainers. A lot of my day is taking phone calls or text messages from Anthony, which is great. Him and Amy are wonderful to work for, and the whole crew of the stable in Cleveland, Jason McGinnis, Lauren Harmon, you know, their grooms up there do a wonderful job. And working with the people like that really makes my job fun. And I get to work with them and, you know, help the horses and see them perform.
Now, those phone calls, that day-to-day communication with the trainers, with these racehorses, what does a typical, you know, when you're getting one ready, a yearling, you know, you come to the sale, you vet out the horses, and we use the term vetting out. Why?
Yeah, so yearling sales are always fun. Everyone gets very excited. You know, it's a new beginning for the season and for the year. Vetting them out, trainers or owners will ask me my opinion on conformation, how a horse maybe stands or walks, and, you know, is it part of the family, you know, genetics that they carry on. Every trainer and owner looks for something different, but so we just look at the horses, check their conformation, and, you know, that discussion, you know, with the trainer and the owner, you know, it's fun because they're picking out that baby, that young horse, you know, and in their eyes, like, they wanted that horse from the start. They're able to buy it and do the whole education of training that yearling and bringing it to the, you know, into a racehorse.
Now, conformation or genetics, like you're speaking of, how big of a role does that play in the horse racing industry?
Right. It plays a pretty significant role. You know, with the standardbreds, we worry about interfering, you know, with their gait, if they're trotting or pacing. So sometimes we look for conformation. You know, if they're toed out, you know, pretty significantly, they could hit knees. So we look at the conformation, how they walk, because when they become racehorses, is this conformation going to lead to issues of their gait where they may interfere? So that's a very important role that we look for. So we typically like to have straight and very normal conformation, but sometimes it doesn't matter, and crooked-legged horses go and be world champions. So that's just part of the looking process.
Now, can a horse grow out of that conformation if they're kind of, crooked-legged or toed in or toed out? Like, if you look at a yearling, my son, he's 1 year old, 1 year old, and he wobbles around and falls into everything. So, comparing them to a human, obviously, I know they're very different, but comparing them, they're babies. Right. Can they grow out of these things?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of it is, when we look at babies, we'll look at maybe to see when the baby was foaled, when it was born. Is it an early foal, a late foal? So we know there's a lot of growing to do, so they're not going to be this size when they're racing in, next summer. So we put that into consideration when we're looking at conformation. Are they going to fill out? Is it going to change the way they stand, the way they move? Absolutely. So that's why you'll see at these yearling sales people walking a horse back and forth just to see how their legs carry, but you also have to consider they're going to muscle up, they're going to get bigger, they're going to get stronger. That gait is going to change.
Now, you spoke of the time of year a horse was born or was foaled. Now, what is the, usual time of year, early versus late? And back to, kid-wise, if you're playing hockey, gymnastics, volleyball, whatever sport that is, if you're a January baby, you're basically a year older than those, November, December babies in that same sport. So does that play a role into, their 2-year-old, 3-year-old seasons?
Right. So, a lot of people will focus on that greatly, where they want an earlier foal born in January or February or early March, because they feel it's being more developed. And so when it comes time, and this time of year, when we start getting them into training and breaking the yearlings, they're maybe a little bit stronger to start that process. And some people will, May, June foal, it doesn't bother them. They'll be patient and know this horse has a little more time to grow, so they're not going to rush them off the start. So it just depends on the trainer and what fits their program. So some people will be patient and wait. Some people like that early model so they can get going right away.
Let's bring it back to the Lexington selected yearling sale as we are eager to await the Monday night sale. We know what happens on Monday nights. It's big money, it's big owners, it's beautiful horses. But what do you look most forward to about Lexington, just in general, about the week or each day?
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful down here. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, everybody gets so excited for this time of year, because if they had a bad year with the racehorses or a great year, it's time to start over. And, we get to pick them out again. We're going to start fresh. There's a lot of great horses to choose from. And it's great seeing everybody here congregate in one spot. We watch the races on the computer, on our phones, but everyone comes here. And I love seeing, people that we only see once a year, here, and working with the consignments and the farms. It's just a lot of fun here at Lexington.
And as a vet, you're always around the horses, always working with different trainers. What do you kind of like about when you see these yearlings walking around? Is there anything that you say, this one that looks like this to me? Or what do you look for if you were going to train or own a horse?
Right, that's a good question. Because mostly I try to feel what the trainers, what they want, what suits their program. So a lot of times I know what a certain trainer is looking for in a baby. So when I'm looking at a horse, I know this horse will suit this trainer, or might not fit another trainer. But for me, it's silly, but sometimes you just look the horse in the eye and there's something there.
You know what? That goes to show my daughter was here earlier today looking, at the little baby horses, and she picked out one, and she said that one just has a twinkle in its eye. So it was number 7 for those who are looking around. No, I did not. But we can follow number 7. I don't even know its name, but we'll see, if that rings true for her in number 7 tonight.
It's a nice horse.
Thank you for joining us here.
My pleasure.
All right, we're back at the desk here as we are, check out the clock, 10 minutes away from night one of the 2022 Lexington Selected Yearlings Sale. Mark McKelvey, joined once again by Anthony McDonald. And while Anthony gets his notes in order here, we just want to take a moment to thank everybody that joined us here. We talked to plenty of great guests, and we'll have more of them throughout the week as this sale continues on. Don't forget, we'll be back up tomorrow around noon. The sale will kick off at 2 p.m. Anthony, I've seen you mingling with some different folks, some of them being your clients, others that are coming in here for the sale. The buzz continues to grow, the atmosphere. You can't beat this, can you?
It really is unique. I told our clients the last 2 or 3 weeks, if you can get to Lexington, try to get to Lexington. It's not like everybody says, oh, I'll make Harrisburg. It's not Harrisburg. It's quite a different feel, and that's not to take anything away from Harrisburg. Lexington is its own beast, and it's really, really cool to be here. You know, my wife and I, everybody wants to get away, but this is the 1 week that, especially since we operated the stable, that we look forward to every year, because although it's extremely taxing, it's so much fun, and just truly excited about here. I'm going through my texts, and everybody is pumped at the stable. I keep getting email after email after email, people asking about, did you look at this horse? Did you look at that one? What do you think of this one? We're going to be here tonight, and we're going to do some business tonight, but a lot of business throughout the week. It should be a lot of fun, and just really, really excited about it.
I know we talked a little bit earlier about the fact how you've got to be on the ball. You got to be dialed in the whole time as all the horses pass through on night number one here. Is there any sort of nervous energy as well for you, or is you just ready to play ball?
That's a great question. Yeah, there is. When the horse goes in the ring, you're trying to assess, as the bidding starts, you're trying to assess who you're bidding against sometimes. Sometimes it's in the front or it's in the back. You're trying to figure out where the money's going. Yeah, it's super exciting in that manner where you're, think of it this, we're going to bid on, let's say we bid on 150 horses in this sale catalog, which we likely will. The energy and the adrenaline just maxed out, and then when the horse leaves, if you don't get the horse, it's just a dump immediately. So you can only do that so much before it becomes really draining. But it's such a cool feeling and a sense of responsibility. I'm a bit of a character and a jokester, and I don't have a whole lot of stress in my life, and I like it that way. But this is the one sale where I am dialed in, and it's almost like going behind the gate in a stake race. You're focused on what you're there to do and how you're going to get it done, and that's exactly like this sale. I'm laser focused when it comes to what we're doing and how we're doing it here, especially here in Lexington.
All right, throughout the evening, we've asked those watching to leave their comments with who they think is going to be the sale topper this year. Did you have a guess of who might the sale topper be this year, or have you looked that deep, or do you just mostly focus in on the ones that you're going to be bidding towards?
I think the sale topper is going to be number 104. I think that I think Chimpanzee's full brother, although I don't really recall what Chimpanzee looked like. This guy's maybe a little bit on the smaller side, but he is a Chapter 7, so that's like saying a Better's Delight's a little on the smaller side. They all are. Chimpanzee was a very, very good horse, and when I look at the horses behind him, they weren't Chimpanzee, but at the same token, I think, one, it's going to be a trotter, I believe, and two, it's I was going to say it's going to be a Chapter 7. It could be a Walner. It could be a Green Shoe. I'm gonna stick with 104. There's a lot of power in the catalog tonight, but that guy's just far enough back out of the fireworks, so to speak, where there might be some people waiting in the wings for him. I'm picking 104.
Is there a lull in the night ever on night one?
Yeah, there's lulls every night, and that's kind of where you have to be ready to do business if you're what I would say a value shopper is that there are, and I can't explain them. I don't understand where they come from or why they happen. But if you I'm sure you're going to talk to lots of consignors this week. Ask them about the lulls. No one wants to be stuck in the rut, and it does happen where there's this little valley, and whatever's in there is in there. And do you see them on day one? Not as much, but they're there. They're everywhere, and that's what's so cool about the sale is you don't know what is going to happen. Everybody might say this is going to happen or that's going to happen. You're wrong. No one knows, and that's what makes horse racing so cool. But that's what makes Lexington and sales like Lexington so cool.
For those that are going to be tracking along tonight, you see there's 124 horses, I believe, that are going to pass through the ring this evening. That's the smallest session. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Is there any way you can get a steal on night one, or like I mentioned, with there only being 124 selling, they're going to let these ones drag out. They don't just drop the hammer that quickly. Can you get a steal on night one?
Absolutely. What happens, what you'll see happen is sometimes what happens is a horse will go in the ring and the bidding will stall. And what happens in natural human nature, people say, I must have missed something. Something is wrong with the horse that I didn't know. And before you know it, the hammer goes down and you're like, I'll get the next one. But you're left, and as I said in the opening, when you leaf through the results, you're like, how did that happen? That is the horse that we want. And my job is to try and figure out, or at least be ready for when something like that happens. It doesn't always happen, but you really have to be awake and paying attention when the sales are going on, because these horses are in the ring, as you said, for a split second, and sometimes it seems like, and there's just no time to ponder. And you have to be ready to pounce. And this all sounds silly maybe to somebody that doesn't know, but we're dealing with the next wave of horses for the stable, and this is why I take it so seriously. We're building the foundation of 2023 here tonight, and it's as I said, it's cool, but it's super serious, and it's about to start just in a minute.
Exactly. So we're going to let you get to it in just a moment. Any final thoughts coming into tonight? I know there's a lot of clients watching, a lot that are eagerly waiting. What are your final thoughts as we get set for night number one?
I'd said this throughout the year. We've been very fortunate this year. We've had a great year. We have the best clients in the world. And, I have people come up to me all the time and say, I couldn't deal with that many clients. And I would caution and I would urge trainers to do the very opposite. I think you should, because we have had the most exciting time and the most positive time with our clients. It's been great. The feedback going into the sale, the mounting pressure from people waiting to see what we're going to buy, because they're truly excited about our sport, about the sport that we all love. And to be able to go through that with them is just it's so gratifying. And to be quite frank, I say it all the time, it's so humbling to be a part of something so big. And as we enter the sale tonight, and as we enter the rest of 2022 into 2023, I can't thank our clients enough. Without them, there is no stable. And even bigger than Anthony McDonald, without them, other people wouldn't be paying attention to what's going on right now. There needs to be more fractional ownership in this game. There needs to be help to the horsemen to build their fractional stables. And you, our clients, are the very proof that they can do it. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and it should be a wonderful sale.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll let you get to it. Anthony, thanks so much for your time. Good luck here tonight.
Thanks very much.
All right, don't forget, everybody, we'll be back up tomorrow with a recap of night number one and a preview of day number two. We'll be on the air around noon. The sale will kick off for day number 2 at 2 p.m., so we'll get you teed up with a nice little 2-hour pregame show. Enjoy the sale tonight. If you want to track along, you can go to any of the industry websites, whether that's standardbredcanada.ca, US Trotting, or just do a Google search of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. You'll be able to find a live stream. Good luck to all the clients out there. Good luck, Anthony, and we will talk with you again tomorrow. Enjoy night number 1 of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale.
moving on.